Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we uncover the secrets hidden in plain sight within corporate filings. Today we are diving into a filing that shows a company tweaking its merger plans, and we'll see if these changes signal a smoother ride ahead or more bumps on the road. Before we dive in, if you like decoding the financial world without the jargon, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you join our Discord community linked in the description below. It is where we break down these ideas further. Alright, so what we have here is a report from FirstSun's Capital BANCORP, or FirstSun, as you'll see it traded. The date is the 6th of February 2026, and it is talking about a recent amendment to a merger agreement. Remember, merger agreements are the big deals where one company plans to buy another or combine with it. FirstSun's Capital BANCORP, the company filing this, is actually a relatively young financial institution, an emerging growth company, which means they get some leniency with certain financial reporting rules, as indicated by the checkmark. They're based in Delaware and primarily operate in the banking sector. Now, back in October of 2025, FirstSun announced a pretty significant plan to merge with another company called First Foundation Inc. Think of it as a really important agreement laying out the terms of how these two companies would join forces. This current report is an update and amendment to that original agreement. This specific filing and amendment to that merger agreement was made on the 6th of February 2026. It is not changing the big picture of the deal, like how much the shareholders will get or the overall value. Instead, it is fine-tuning some specific details, particularly about a new class of stock they plan to create called non-voting common stock. The main change here is how this non-voting stock can be converted into regular voting stock. Originally, it seems holders of this non-voting stock had more freedom to convert their shares. The amendment puts some significant limits on this. It says they can only convert if doing so wouldn't push their ownership past a certain threshold. Specifically 4.99% of any voting class of stock. This is a crucial number in banking regulations, often related to control and ownership rules. It means that even if you hold non-voting stock, you can't easily convert it to gain too much voting power, especially if it could lead to crossing that regulatory line. The new rule is more about a response to specific actions. Conversion of this non-voting stock into voting stock is now only allowed if FirstSun takes an action that reduces the holder's percentage ownership of voting securities. And even then, the conversion is only permitted to the extent that it doesn't push them to own more voting stock than they did right before that action. Essentially, it's designed to maintain a certain ownership structure and prevent any single entity from gaining undue voting influence through these conversions, particularly in response to the company's own actions. So, what is the big takeaway from this amendment? It is about locking down the structure and control of the combined company post-merger. They're clarifying the rules around this special non-voting stock to ensure regulatory compliance and maintain the intended ownership balance. It is not a change to the financial terms or how much everyone gets, but it is a significant tweak to how ownership and control will be managed, especially in relation to regulatory limits. The actual document detailing this amendment is filed as an exhibit. It is the legal text that lays out these new conversion rules for the non-voting common stock. The filing also includes a lot of important information for investors, reminding them about the merger itself. It points to other documents filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, that provide more context. This includes a registration statement on Form S-4 and a joint proxy statement. These documents are crucial for shareholders because they contain all the details about the merger, including why it is happening, the potential risks, and how shareholders will vote on it. They really emphasize that investors should read these documents carefully. This is standard practice for major corporate events like mergers. It's all about transparency and making sure everyone involved understands what they are agreeing to. This section is about who is involved in asking for shareholder votes. It lists out the directors and executive officers of both FirstSun and First Foundation who might be considered participants in urging shareholders to vote for or against the merger. It details how to find information about their involvement and their stock holdings in other filings, which is important for understanding potential conflicts of interest or motivations. And finally, the report is signed by Neil E. Arnold, the Chief Executive Officer of FirstSun's Capital BANCORP, confirming the accuracy of the information provided. Now, looking at this filing, the story here isn't about drastically changing financial fortunes, but rather about how a company is navigating the complexities of a merger. Specifically around ownership and regulatory hurdles, the amendment to the merger agreement shows FirstSun being proactive in addressing potential issues with the structure of their new stock class. Limiting the conversion of non-voting stock to stay below the 4.99% threshold is a smart move in the highly regulated banking industry. It suggests a focus on stability and compliance, ensuring that no single entity can easily gain controlling influence through stock conversions, especially as they integrate with First Foundation. This provides a clearer path and reduces regulatory risk as the merger progresses. While this filing doesn't contain deep financial tables to analyze, the strategic decision highlighted is significant. It points to a deliberate effort to manage ownership in a way that appeases regulators and maintains a controlled integration. The risk here is that such restrictions might deter some investors who prefer more flexibility, but for a bank, stability and regulatory adherence often outweigh that concern. The opportunity lies in successfully completing the merger with a clean ownership structure, setting a strong foundation for the combined entity. In conclusion, FirstSun Capital BANCORP is making a careful adjustment to its merger with First Foundation, focusing on the control aspects of its new stock issuance. This amendment signals a commitment to regulatory compliance and a structured approach to growth. We'll be watching to see how this plays out and if the merger ultimately delivers on its promise. Alright, that is our breakdown of this latest filing. What is your take on these merger amendments and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching, see you next time.